everyone. Welcome to today's live session. I am very thrilled to welcome all of you from Australia, Vietnam, or any other country that you can watch the live from. In case you don't know me or you haven't seen me before, my name is Noshin. I'm one of the trainers here at PTE Leader, and I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. So let's get started for today's live session. Now, in case you missed our first live session, it's for you. So in last week, we covered lots of ideas regarding spelling, fluency, pronunciation, about the PTE test, as well as we also busted some PTE myths that are around all the time. And these myths usually misguide the test takers and confuse them even further. So if you want to have a look at that live session from the last week, please visit our Facebook page and have a look. So for today, we are going to also talk about a little bit more in detail about the spelling, also fluency and pronunciation about the PTE test. Also, we are going to bust two more myths regarding PTE that are always in the air and misguide these students. So let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen because it helps me to stay on topic. And these slides can also help you to understand what I'm talking about a little better. So yeah. Alrighty, so today's topic are gonna be on spelling, pronunciation, and myths around the PTE test. So when you improve your pronunciation, obviously it improves your fluency in English as well. So I haven't mentioned that specifically here. All right, the first thing that we're gonna start with for today's live session is about spelling. Now, spelling is very important as I discussed in the last live session. Without spelling, you can't expect to achieve a higher score in all of the communication skills in PTE. Now, when we write our words, there are two types of conventions that we can follow while we write our words in English. One is British spelling convention. Another one is American spelling convention. Now, obviously, both of the countries, United Kingdom and America, follow English language, but even then, there are certain words that we write in a special way if we are from America or if we are from United Kingdom. So when you write these words in PTE test, my suggestion would be to follow one spelling convention strictly throughout your test. If you always follow British spelling convention or British spelling rules, my suggestion is just keep following that. Or if you follow American spelling, keep following that. Don't mix and match both. So from here on the slide, there's a picture. And we can see it says, let's go watch a game of soccer. And that's an American person. And the British person is saying, you mean football? So you can see both words, soccer and football, are in English. But then because of our different country and the way of we speak and use language, it's different, but it means the same game, football. But Americans say soccer, British people say football. So in the same manner, there are some other spelling rules that are slightly different in America and in United Kingdom. So we will have a look at those rules, and that will help you to understand which spelling convention you usually follow and which one you want to follow for future practice. So yes, use spelling convention, whether you want to follow the USA one, the UK or Australian one, be consistent in that. In Australia, we follow the British rules. So if you follow the British one, you don't have to worry about following anything extra for Australian spelling because in Australia, we usually follow the British spelling rules. So the first rule, which is pretty different in both America and in United Kingdom, is ER. So if a word ends with ER, that is American spelling. But in the end, if you write RE, that is going to be British or Australian spelling. Now, this is quite interesting. So if you look at the examples, center, center. So CEN T-E-R, that is American spelling. But if you write it like C-E-N-T-R-E, that is going to be Australian or British spelling. Also in the same way, theater, fiver. So F-I-B-E-R, American, F-I-B-R-E, Australian or British. So when you write these kinds of words, just look at your words and see which one you usually write. If it's American, make sure you always follow American spellings for all different kinds of writing activities in essay, write from dictation, summarize spoken text, summarize written text, just keep following American. So this is one difference in spelling. Second difference is that when a word has U into it, that is a British spelling. If the word doesn't have U into it, that is going to be American spelling. For example, in America, people write C-O-L-O-R, color. But here in Australia, we write C-O-L-O-U-R. We include the U in our spellings. Neighbor, humor, H-U-M-O-U-R, that is Australian spelling or British spelling. But if you write H-U-M-O-R, that is going to be American spelling. Right. So there are two other rules that distinctly vary between British and American spelling. In American spelling, verbs are usually spelled with Z, but in Australian spelling or British spelling, we prefer to write it with S. For example, apologize, A-P-O-L-O-G-I-Z-E. When we use Z-E, that's American. But the same spelling, if we write it like A-P-O-L-O-G-I-S-E, that's British or Australian. In the same way, words like organize, recognize. The final rule is in America, we drop UE in the word, but in Australia or in United Kingdom, we include UE in the word. For example, analog, A-N-A-L-O-G. Without UE, that's American. But if we write A-N-A-L-O-G-U-E, that's British or American. In the same way, catalog, dialogue. One exception is the word program that is not following any other rule. It's a different one, so that's why I just included this one. So in America, they write the word program as P-R-O-G-R-A-M, but in Australia or in United Kingdom, we write it as P-R-O-G-R-A-M-M-E. So that's another exception. Also from the picture on the slide, this is again very interesting. In Australia or in United Kingdom, we all the time use the word mate. So in Australia, if you meet someone on your way or in any social context, whenever we see each other, we just say, hey, how are you, mate? But in America, they use the word dude. Now, both mean the same thing, it's just the way we express ourselves. So yeah, that's the thing about the difference between British and American spelling. Be a little bit mindful in which one do you usually follow and keep following that convention throughout your test. It's not only for PTE, it can be this rule or this knowledge can be applied in any situation where you write anything. Just keep following one convention. Also, one other important thing about this thing is that in PTE, because you already know this is AI scored, artificial intelligence scores your writing. If you just mix match both types of spelling, computer may misunderstand your ability. The computer may think you actually don't know the spelling of all these words, and then you can get less score. So let's not take that risk. Keep strictly following one spelling convention for PTE test. All right, feel free to ask any question if you have any or any other comment or suggestion in the comment box. All right. Now, I got this question in last week's live session, and I keep getting this question all the time when I teach people regarding PTE test. How can we improve our spelling? How can I be much better in writing and not making mistakes while I write spelling of different complex words? There are some ways. Obviously, practicing different words is one way, but that's not the only way. There are other strategies that you can follow to improve your spelling. First way of doing it is dividing the words into smaller parts. This way, you will remember the word better for a longer period of time. And also, you will not make a mistake when you write this word in any writing. So for example, from the picture, we can see kicking. Kicking may be a confusion for you, a word which is very confusing for you. In that case, just divide, this word into two parts, kick and ing. This way, it will help you to remember it for a longer period of time. You can do this, or what you can other way you can do it is for a longer word, which is very complex, try to identify a word within that word. So, for example, if you see the word explain, you divide it into two parts, and within explain, there is another word, which is plain. So if you remember the words which is very complex for you, and you identify words within a word, that way you will barely make any mistake, all right? And it will help you to remember the word for a longer period of time as well. More examples. So endeavor, just divide it into two parts, and ever. And also just see within this word endeavor, you have another word, which is end. So this can also help you to remember the word. Other examples, tremendous. Divide it into three parts, does. And if you notice, there is another word, men, within the word tremendous. So again, helps you to remember the word spelling for a longer period of time. Incredible. Divide it into three parts, edible. And within the word incredible, again, we have two more words, in and edible. So this is one very interesting and very effective way of keep remembering complex words where you make more mistakes or you are always confused. And yes, this strategy can be used in lots of other words as well. So I have got a question from Julie. What spelling do you recommend to use in the PTE test? Well, depending on the fact that PTE is actually an American test, and most of the times for all the instructions, they follow American spelling. I would say if you can keep following American spelling. That way you'll be safe. But yes, if you feel like all the time you use British spelling, feel free to use that one as well. It doesn't matter which one you are using. Just keep following what you are following. At least know if it is British or American. Know first which one you usually follow since the beginning of your English learning journey, and keep following that. But my personal recommendation would be using American spelling only for PTE test. All right, so I have another question. So in how many days I can get my PTE result? Thanks, Sadma, for asking this question. Usually within 3 to 5 business days, you get the score. In most occasions, I have seen people giving the test in one day. If you give the test in the morning, by night, you usually get the test. In Australia, that's what happens. Or at latest, it can be 1 or 2 days delay. Even though on the official websites, they say within 5 days, but most of the times it doesn't even take 5 days. Within a day or within the same day by night, if you give the test in the morning, you can get your score. So yeah. Thanks for the question, Julie and Salman. All right, let's proceed further with our spelling rules. Now, this one is a never-ending confusion for most of the English language speakers and learners as well. Most of the words in English has these two letters, EI or IE. And we become really confused, which is the right one. So let's look at the word receive. So there are two alternatives of the spelling, R-E-C-E-I-V-E or R-E-C-I-E-V-E. Even though we know the word, during stress or when we are anxious about our performance, we can make these silly mistakes. Now, obviously, there is another way of identifying which one is the correct one. If you see a word, and when you pronounce that word, and you see there is a C sound in the word, you will use EI. For example, the word receive, when we say the word receive, we pronounce the word with a C sound, receive. That's why the correct spelling for the word receive would be R-E-C-E-I-V-E. In the same way, receipt, deceit. Whenever you are confused with a word, pronounce it and see if you're pronouncing the C sound. If the answer is yes, you are pronouncing the C sound, you will use EI. So this is one very interesting way. I have another question from Nguyen. Can I get your PPT after your presentation? Well, it would be great if you keep watching and take notes if you want to. Otherwise, these PPT slides will be uploaded on YouTube channel as well, on PTE Leader's YouTube channel. From there, you can watch it again. If not, you can still take some notes while you are watching this live session. Yeah. So receive is correct. Yes, Nguyen, R-E-C-E-I-V-E, that spelling is correct. You are correct. So yeah, in case you have confusion with these kinds of words, just pronounce it loudly. If there's a C sound, blindly write EI, because that's the rule. All right. Next comes another rule regarding EI or IE. If there is no C sound, definitely write IE. For example, believe, chief, knees, diesel. These are the words when you pronounce, you actually don't pronounce the C sound. So that's why in these kinds of words, you will use IE, not EI. You are most welcome, Nguyen. I'm happy to help. Right, now let's proceed further with another rule. Sometimes in English language, when you write a verb with ing, you drop last letter. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Now, how do you know when to drop the last letter and when not to? This can be a real confusion when you are writing a sentence in present continuous, like I'm coming this week, or it's raining outside. Sentences like that. So how would you know? The rule is when a word ends with a vowel, we all know what is vowel, A, E, I, O, U. These five letters are called vowels. So when a word ends with a vowel in the end, and you want to add ing with it, you drop the last letter. For example, coming, making, boring. If you see the pattern of the spellings, when we want to make the word bore to boring, we are removing the last E and adding ing. Same for making, M-A-K-I-N-G, you drop the last E. So in case if you're confused while making it a word form with ing into it, if you're not sure if you want to drop it or not, just follow this rule. If there is a vowel in the end, just drop the last letter and add ing with it. Right, another way of improving your spelling, sometimes for some words, when we make ing version of it, we add double consonant in the end. How would I know that? So the rule is, for example, if you see a word ending with a consonant, and before the consonant, you have a vowel, then when you are adding ing, double the last consonant. So begin is a word with gin in the end. N is a consonant, I is a vowel. So when we are making it beginning, the last consonant will be double, B-E-G-I, double N-I-N-G. The same for the word run to running, get to getting, cut to cutting. So yes, whenever you want to make a version of a word with ing, you see in the end there is a consonant. Before the consonant there is a vowel, double the consonant. And if you see in the end there is only one vowel, just drop that vowel and add ing, as we discussed in the last rule for improving spelling. Right, I hope it's helping all of you out. Right, after strategies regarding improving our spelling, let's start how can we improve pronunciation. This is also one of the most frequently asked questions. Also, I got this question in our last live session. How can actually we improve ourselves regarding improving our pronunciation in English? So obviously, the first strategy would be practicing, but practicing in the right way. Wrong way of practicing can actually make your situation worse. So my first suggestion would be practicing English loudly. When you want to improve your English, when you are looking at some sentences, for example, and you want to improve your pronunciation regarding all the words in those sentences, read it aloud, because there is a difference when we read the same sentence in our mind silently and when we read the same sentence loudly using our mouth movement. There is a huge difference. When we read in our mind, we feel like we can smash it, we can perfectly do it. But the real problem occurs when we say the same sentence loudly. That's when we feel like we have lots of areas to improve ourselves. So my suggestion would be practice loudly. Whatever you want to practice, do it loudly. And also observe how your mouth moves while speaking. This is really, really important in English. How your mouth is moving, how you are using your tongue, your teeth, while you're pronouncing specific word sounds is really important to sound like native speakers. There are lots of people who are very fluent in English, but even then when they start to speak, it becomes really hard for native speakers to understand what they are saying. It's because they don't know the right pronunciation of so many sounds in English. Only one way of fixing that is use your mouth consciously. Also, if you look at the pictures here, you can see the first picture is showing how your mouth should look like when you are pronouncing specific letters or specific sounds. If when you are using the same sounds, your mouth looks like this, you are on the right track. If not, try to improve your mouth position, tongue position, teeth position while you're pronouncing these sounds. On Google, you can definitely find lots of these things. Also, interestingly, if you search for a word on Google, like for example, the word practice, if you search for it on the Google, it will obviously show you how to pronounce it as well. So the second picture here on the slide, you can see I have included how to pronounce the word practice in a British pronunciation. You can also choose American pronunciation and see how actually it shows you that the right way of pronouncing a specific word, which is really helpful and effective. Most of the words, British and American pronunciation is same, but for some words, obviously there is a difference. So based on which version of English you prefer for your everyday communication, choose that one, British or American. Click on the pronunciation option and see how you can improve yourself, how you can improve the pronunciation of a certain word. And also focus on the mouth position, the tongue position while you're pronouncing specific sounds. That is gonna really help you improve and speak like a native speaker. I have another question. Some people say that the word with two syllables would be doubled the consonant when adding ing if the stress is on the second syllable. Is that right? Absolutely right. Yes, Nguyen. So if you have a word with two syllables and you are stressing on the last part of it, on the second syllable, even in that situation, you double the consonant. Absolutely correct. So I feel like Nguyen, you're on the right track and you're surrounding yourself with the right kind of people who are giving you this information because this is absolutely right. All right, okay. Second way is recording yourself. This is also very important. Sometimes we are not aware of our own mistakes when we speak, but if we record ourselves and play it and listen to our own language, listen to our own speaking, we will figure out lots of new problems that we didn't realize we have. The thing can be otherwise as well. Sometimes we have low self-esteem, we feel like we don't speak well enough. But when we listen to our own recording, you can be thrilled like, well, yeah, I actually speak better than I think I do. So it can also improve your self-confidence as well. So it can happen either way. So if you don't have anyone to guide you on a regular basis, practice, record that, play that, and listen to your own recordings and identify where you are struggling or where you are doing better than you think you do. Um, Next one is getting a feedback. Obviously, if you have someone um, with you who is better than your current level, or at least at your level regarding English proficiency, speak with them and get feedback. How are you doing according to them? If they have any suggestion to improve you yourself, and incorporate those ideas into your practice for every day. Um, I have another question and comment regarding spelling from Fun Tang. I always start with spelling and now it is really clear. Thanks, Noshin. Wow, that's amazing, Fun. I hope that was really helpful for you. I'm very happy to be helpful. Okay. Another way is replaying video and audio. Well, this one is also important. Most of the times, when we watch English films, listen to English music, watch documentaries, or plays like on TV, in TV or news, um, we learn so many new words in English. If that is the case for you, if you learn more effectively from listening to different audios and videos, keep playing so many times unless you are so confident in your own pronunciation. So replaying, pausing, playing it again, listen to it carefully, and practicing again and again is another very effective strategy to improve your pronunciation. So some people learn pronunciation from reading, like reading books or searching in YouTube or searching in Google for the correct pronunciation of a word. Some people learn very well from audios and videos. Whatever is the way, just make sure you are very consistent in your practice. Finally, another way is improving your pronunciation is to learn International Phonetic Alphabet, which is called IPA. Even though we have 26 letters in English alphabet, we have 44 sounds. These are the 44 sounds, and these will give you a detailed idea of how to pronounce different letters in English. You will find lots of new ideas, lots of videos, more wisdom and more knowledge regarding IPA on Google. Feel free to search it and make it a part of your self-study to improve your English pronunciation. Finally, very helpful, interesting, and convenient way of improving your pronunciation is using apps. So there are lots of pronunciation apps in Play Store. But in my experience, in my opinion, these are some really good pronunciation apps. Say It is one app, Fluency is another app, and ELSA is another app where you can practice your own pronunciation, record your answers, and see how well you're doing compared to the ideal pronunciation of the word. You can download these apps in your phone. You can also use these apps from website as well, from your laptop or computer. Make an account and see which one is more helpful for you and make it a part of your regular practice for English. So yeah, SAID, Fluency, or ELSM, these are my very favorite, and also I find these are very useful to improve your pronunciation, to help you speak clearly and more confidently. Right, now it's time for myths. In last week, we talked about around 5 myths. Today, we are going to talk about 2 more myths, which are very interesting and also always in the air to misguide people and make test takers more stressed. So the first myth for tonight is you will get better score if you go to certain test centers. Now, I hear this all the time. Students ask me if I go to this test center or that test center, will I get better score? Because my friends get better score when they give their test in this specific test center or that specific test center. Now, obviously, there is no truth into this. This is a very wrong conception of the students. PTE gives you a score based on AI, their automated scoring engines. They are not relying on any human, or they are not relying on someone's opinion about your English. Your answer is going to be checked by a computer. It doesn't matter if you're going to a test center A or test center B. In all the test centers, you are being checked by AI, not any human. So obviously there is no possibility that if you go to a specific test center, you'll get higher score because the humans in that test center or the examiner in that test center are very reliable, very convenient. And for the other one, the examiner is very strict. There is no way of having these kind of things in PTE. So obviously it doesn't matter what test center you choose, it's always going to be the same. It depends on your performance. So you get same setup, same security, same condition, and same scoring system across all test centers. So if you can look at the picture, your PTE test center will look exactly like this. You will have your own specific workstation where you will give your test, and the condition of the room will be same. All the test takers will get same headphone, same computer, same chair, same table, same notepad and markers to take notes during giving the test. Everything is going to be the same. All the procedures are going to be the same as well. So this myth is not obviously true. My suggestion would be at the right mindset and stress-free, because you know wherever you give the test, the outcome will be the same. The only way the outcome will be different is if you have a different level of preparation, different level of confidence. Those are the factors that can change your, outcome of the PTE test, not the test center itself. So please be stress-free and be confident. And choose a test center that is convenient for you based on your location and your availability. If you have a test center very close to your house, and it will not take you so much time into going to a test center, obviously choose that one. Even if other people are saying that test center will not give you your desired score, because that's not true. Whatever is convenient for you, do that. Choose that test center. Now I'm gonna play a video because I said that for all test centers, all the procedures before you go into the room to give the test, to start your test, all the procedures are going to be very similar. We are now going to watch a video. What are those, conditions? What are those steps that you have to follow before you go into the room and start your test? So you will have an idea what actually happens on the day of your PTE test, and what are the things you have to follow and understand. Let's watch this video. Right. So these are the things that will actually happen on the day of your PTE test. So to sum up the video, when you go into a test center, you will first do biometric test, and then they will take a photograph of you. Also, you are not allowed to take any of your belongings into the test room. For example, water bottle, food box, like any meal box, extra pen or pencil, or preparation materials, or dresses as well. So if you are wearing jacket or other heavy clothing, they will ask you to remove it before you go into the test room. And in most of the cases, the test rooms are pretty cold because the ACs are always, running. So just a tip from my experience, if you feel like you are very cold sensitive, wear something very thick, and don't rely on jacket because they will ask you to remove it before you go into the test room. Also during your test, before you start your test, they will give you a notepad and also two markers to take note while you are giving the test. And then you enter the room, and during giving your test on 3 occasions, you can ask questions to the invigilator. One situation is where if you have any question or concern regarding your test, if you need more pages for your notepad, or if you want to use washroom or drink water. In these 3 occasions, you can raise your hand and the invigilator will come to help you out. Obviously, before you leave the test room, they will again scan your palm. And again, before you go back to the room, they will again scan your palm. And then you give the test. Yes, and also one more thing is that you are not allowed to take any papers inside the room as well. So they will check that through as well. And after you give the test, after you finish the test, they will give you a confirmation letter through email that you have attended the test, and you will get your score in email very soon. Um, I have another question from Fan. In IELTS, the speaking test usually is marked based on the examiner's mood. Is it also like that in PTE? Is there anyone who also mark our test besides the AI? Thanks, Juan. That's a very, very interesting question. Firstly, the rumor that in IELTS, the speaker gets the test taker gets point based on examiner's mood is absolutely wrong. Even in IELTS, we have a specific scoring system, bands. For each band, like 6, 7, 8, 9, these different criteria. You have several criteria as well to successfully get one specific band. They don't give you a band based on how they personally feel about you. They will give you a band based on your performance, and they will compare that performance, your speaking performance, against the band indication criteria, whatever is there based on band 6 or band 7. And if you meet that criteria, obviously you'll get band 6 or 7. So it's hardly going to be true that it's based on examiner's mood. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, no, in PTE, it doesn't happen like that. There is no one else who can mark your performance in speaking section besides AI. So if you're worried about that, you don't have to worry at all, because only the artificial intelligence scoring system is going to check your performance in speaking, not any other person. So these are the two things. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's move on. Oops, I'm sorry. Yes, second myth about the PT test is native or high proficiency speakers will get high score without preparation. Well, I don't know from where this myth comes from, but people assume if you're a very good English speaker, be it native or English language learner, if you're very proficient in English, you don't need any preparation. This is not true. Don't feel like you are in less advantage if you speak less proficient English compared to someone else, that you have to take more preparation. Yes, you have to take preparation, but just because someone is very good in speaking English doesn't mean they don't have to take any preparation. All test takers must prepare before taking the test. So the emphasis is on the word all. All have to do it. Let's take an example. Just assume I drive, okay? Or you drive. Now you drive from your workplace to your home every single day. You are a very good driver. But then you have to renew your driving license and you have to give the test. Now, obviously, if I am the person I'm driving every single day, even then, if I'm going to give a test on driving, I'm gonna brush off my knowledge. I'm gonna be more conscious, more mindful about how I drive, and I'm not gonna be like careless during our test, during giving the driving test, which I am sometimes while I drive in the common streets, in the streets that I usually drive through. So yes, even if you think you are very good in English, don't take it for granted that you can get away with the fact that you speak English very well. You can't. You need to take some preparation, even if at a very minimal level, but still you have to do that. So yes, just because you're a native person or a very high proficient speaker doesn't mean you don't need to take preparation. And another important thing is that even native English speakers do not always think in academic mindset. So the point is the PTE test is academic one, PTE Pearson test of English academic. So every question they give you is in academic context, in academic situation. But when native speakers usually speak, they are very casual. They are talking in every not informal situations, not informal situations. So they also struggle when they're giving the test in academic context. Especially in my experience, I have seen even native speakers make lots of mistakes when they write journals, when they write assignments in university, or when they speak even in any academic context. So yes, the test is testing your ability of speaking English in academic situation, not in any everyday general situation. So obviously you need to take some practice. Suggestion: preparation pathway can always be very different for every single test taker. The areas where you lack, maybe your friend doesn't lack, and the areas where your friends lack, maybe a very strong point of yours. So obviously, preparation pathway will depend where your lackings are, where the gaps are, and how you need to fill those gaps with certain knowledge and practice. So this is going to be very different. Focus on your strengths and areas of weaknesses to fill the gaps in English proficiency. Now, how you can do that? Look at the picture here on this screen. This is common reference levels for language proficiency. If you give IELTS or if you give PTE, you will be given one level, whatever English language test you take. So A1, A2 are for beginner level speakers. B1, B2 are for middle or average English speaking speakers. C1 and C2 are for more like higher level or more higher proficiency speakers. So first, what I would suggest is that determine which level you are into. If you go into Google and search for common reference levels for language proficiency, you will find all these A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, and there are lots of indication points, criteria for each specific level. Read those labels and see which one you fall into. If you are A1, A2, or B1, you need lots of improvement to reach to C1 and C2. If you feel like you are in C1 or C2, very good, you are already in higher proficiency level. All you have to do is keep practicing to hold on to this level of English proficiency. So before you identify your areas of weaknesses or areas of strengths, first identify what is your level compared to the international level of English, international reference levels of language proficiency. After that, identify what are your strengths and areas of weakness, and then work towards it to give and take preparation for the PTE test. All right, now you can ask me how to improve, obviously, your English. Let's take you are into A1, A2, or B1 in intermediate level or beginner level of English. Now you want to improve your English. What are the ways? So the first way of improving your English is finding out your learning style. All of us learn English in very different way. My way personally is visual spatial. I learn better when I see things around myself, when I look at pictures, look at images, look at videos. I learn that way much better than any other way. So first identify what is your learning style. Do you learn better when you listen to things or when you watch things? Or do you learn better when you play around, go outside and be in more touch with the nature? Or do you learn better when you are talking with your friend? Or do you learn better when you are all by yourself, learning alone? Some people learn very good in that way when they are all by themselves and practice alone. So it differs, it changes based on our personalities and the way we are more comfortable. So first identify your personal learning style and then start improving yourself. uh, a question from Julie: how long does it take to get from A2 to C2? Well, Julie, well, it depends how dedicated you are to improve yourself. If you feel like, okay, I have 2 months of time, I definitely need to go to C2 within 2 months, that's unrealistic expectation. You can't just improve yourself overnight or over just few months. It will take at least 6 months of regular, rigorous practice. Because A1, A2 is a very beginner level. If you want to reach to proficient level, obviously you need to work very hard. Um, I would say keep in your mind 6 months at least. And within these 6 months, every single day practice English, speak in English, breathe in English, feel in English, merge yourself into English language, um, and keep practicing. Keep identifying your areas of weakness. Practice, get a feedback from someone expert or someone you know whose level of English is higher than you. Keep getting feedback and fix your problems and areas of improvements. So yeah, it will vary from person to person. For someone it can be 6, someone it can be 1 year. It depends on your level of dedication. So yes, there is no right or wrong answer I can give you, but 6 months roughly. Just keep it in your mind and keep practicing. Okay. Second thing of improving our English, speak a little English every day. So Julie, that's what I just shared with you. Use English every single day for different situations that you go through everyday life. If you're doing your university degree, when you're in a group, just doing your group discussion, speak in English for a specific amount of time every single day, or at least find a partner to do that. If you are in a social gathering with your friends or colleagues or co-workers, find someone you are very comfortable with and then speak in English with them. If you are an adult person, if you have a significant other in your life, please talk with them in English, because that's going to be the best practice in my experience. If you have someone very special, significant other, or very close friend, talk with them in English, because you will be comfortable in making mistakes while you are talking with them. And through your mistakes, you can improve yourself. While compared to that situation when we are with our coworkers or friends, common friends from universities, we are very conscious about making mistake. We don't want to make mistake. We don't want to look bad. But yeah, when you're with your close friends or family members or significant other, you are more likely to be natural, comfortable, and make more mistakes. And that way you can fix yourself. So yes, speak more, make more mistakes, learn from those mistakes. All right. Um, attend an English class, conversation club, or discuss a discussion group. Sorry. So yes, in every country there should be some kind of club or groups where people join together to improve their English on a regular basis. If you have that kind of opportunity in your country or in your surrounding or in your own community, join those clubs or groups and improve your English through everyday practice. Expand your vocab, which is really important. If you want to improve your English, you need to improve your level of vocab. The more vocab you know, the better you can explain your ideas to someone else. Sometimes we have lots of interesting ideas, but because of lack of vocabulary, we can't explain the way we want to. And that way we lag behind than any other person. So improve your vocab, learn different words about different content, different topics. When you are going in a bus or using any public transport, look around and see if you can learn one single English word which is new and you can remember that, put that word into everyday practice, learn that word and use that. And that way you can improve your English. Because otherwise you can never explain yourself. You can't ever share what you feel inside you with other person. So yeah, that's another way. Work on your pronunciation. We have already talked a lot about pronunciation. So when you are speaking with other people, focus on how they speak. Listen more carefully. If you're talking with a native speaker or a student or a learner who has a very higher level of English, when they're speaking, try to do active listening. Listen to how they pronounce words, listen how they structure their sentences, how they pause in between sentences, actually everything they do while they're speaking English. Learn from them as well and work on your own pronunciation at the same time, and also try to get feedback. And the last thing I would say is don't be afraid of making mistakes. This is my absolute favorite one. Sometimes, even now, when I make mistake, I become really very happy. I don't know if I should be happy or sad, but yeah, that's how I am. If I make mistake, I'm like, wow, I get to learn something new now. If I don't make mistake, I'm like, okay, not making mistake, maybe I need to make more mistakes. So yes, I encourage mistakes a lot. Obviously you are not going to do that intentionally. That's a different thing, but yeah, if you feel like I'm not going to speak English because I usually make lots of mistakes, that's a wrong approach to improve yourself. If you don't speak, you will never know how much you know what you don't know. If you don't speak, you will never know why you are lacking. So yes, speak more, make mistakes, that's all right. We all make mistakes, and learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are fine as long as you don't repeat it. So make the mistake once, learn from it, and don't repeat the same mistake again and again. So yeah, that's a very useful one. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. One way of, not feeling bad or not feeling inferior complexity, not having inferior complexity from making mistakes is that when you're practicing English, speak with someone with whom you're very comfortable. Because when you're speaking with someone you are very comfortable with, you will not be afraid of making mistakes. And that person, the other person, will not judge you for making mistakes. So that way you will feel safe, but at the same time, you will keep learning new things. And yeah, that's how you can improve your English. I feel like that's all for tonight. If you have any other question regarding fluency, pronunciation, and spelling, or myths regarding PTE, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, that's it for tonight. I have a question. Let me stop sharing my screen first, and then I'll take questions. From Nguyen, vocab is very important. I cannot get a high score in IELTS due to lack of vocabulary. Yes, Nguyen, I feel you. I feel you. This is a very common problem. Vocab is not only important in IELTS, but also in PTE. When you are writing an essay, for example, or you are doing summarized spoken text, where you have to listen to an audio and then write a summary, you need vocabulary, because if you don't know vocabulary, you can't even understand what other people are speaking. So vocabulary is very important. Now, how you can improve it, as I have given suggestions, keep following that. Also, another important suggestion that I can give you is take different topics weekly. For example, this week, take a topic of education, um, and then learn 10 or 15 words on education over the week, over 7 days. And use those words in different sentences, in different conversation with your friends or anywhere else. This way, every single week, if you learn at least 10 words, minimum 10 words for all 7 days over the week, over a month, you will realize how many new words you have learned. And surprisingly, you are using all the newly learned words regularly. You are not forgetting. You're not just learning it for the sake of learning, but also you're incorporating those into your everyday life. How wonderful is that? So yes, from Fan, this is really helpful. Thanks a lot. You're most welcome, Fan. I'm very glad that I'm being helpful for your English improving journey. What topic is gonna be next week? Well, that's a very interesting question. What topic do you want me to do? If you have any suggestion, just throw it at me. I'll take it into consideration and use that for next week's live session. From Julie, can you please do a topic on how to improve reading skills? Yes, Julie, that's a very important thing. Do you want me to do it in regard to PTE test or in general reading skills, you mean? Which kind of reading skills you mean? Because for different tests, we need different kinds of reading skills. And within a live session, obviously, I can't cover everything. So if you have any very specific kind of reading skill that you want me to cover, feel free to suggest me that. I'll be happy to take that into consideration. And also, Nguyen, yes, if you have anything that you want me to cover in our upcoming live session, provide suggestions. I'm very happy to take that. All right, so Fan, you want me to do it in PTE. Okay. So yes, I'll be doing a little bit on reading, how to improve reading skills regarding PTE test. I'll take it into consideration and try to do it in our next live session. Thanks for your suggestion, Fan. From Julie, yes, reading in PD. Alrighty, so yes, reading section in PTE is also very, very like a kind of nightmare for some people. They really struggle. So yes, I'll go through some common suggestions and ideas that can help you to improve your reading skill. I hope that answers your question, Julie and Fawn. No worries. It's my pleasure, Julie. Thanks for tuning in so far with us. And keep asking questions and responding. That's very helpful for us. Please keep asking questions if you have any, or any other suggestion or comment that you want to make about live sessions. If not, I feel like that's all for tonight. I'll see you again next week, same time. Please keep tuning with us and keep adding more suggestions if you want to see more topics regarding PTE test. All right, I'll see you next week. Till then, stay safe and stay happy. Happy learning. Bye.